Hey there, Anthony Hendrickson coming to you here today. Have you ever heard your friends or family or relatives or even maybe someone at a restaurant talk about a decanter? Yeah, exactly. What is a decanter and what do you do with it and what do they actually do? So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of decanting 101 here, show you a couple different types of decanters, tell you a little bit about decanters and why we want them, why we use them, and what they're good for. So right here, well, I got a couple different kinds here we'll kind of show you. So the first couple is what we're gonna show you here, or actually they are aerators, we'll call them that. So not necessarily decanters. So the difference between decanters and aerators, or whatever you want to call it, any type of a device, they all serve the same purpose, they just look different. And there's a lot of different kinds, and there's a lot of different ways that you can use them. So I'm just gonna grab a couple more here. So what we're going to start out with, and what I call is kind of some aerators, and there are different types of devices, and you can find them in all shapes, sizes, brands. What they are is they're actual aerators. So if you see here, you'll just put this end into a bottle, you'll pour it out, and what that is that it's actually aerating or decanting your bottle of wine by the glass. So there are devices and other things that you can use as decanters, and the great part about these ones is if you don't think that you're going to consume an entire bottle of wine throughout the night, or if you don't have enough friends to help you with it, this is just kind of an easy way to be able to do it by the glass. So you can have a glass or two, and then you can just discard, and away you go. So these are a couple types of them, and here's another one. And actually, I'll even, if I know that I'm leaving town or going over to a friend's house or something like that, and I want a decanter, I'll even take this guy with me. So kind of looks like some type of a device that you would have that for all kinds of different reasons, I guess. But this one here is for aerating wine. So what you do is you just actually slip that right into the top of the bottle, and what that does is just decants your bottle of wine by the glass. And what I mean by decanting is it wakes the wine up, it aerates the wine. Probably the best way to describe what decanters are and why or kind of the best way to describe them, the way I would be, you ever went to work all day long and you finally get home and you sit down and start to relax and you take off your socks? Yeah, that's exactly what wine thinks about this bottle. The bottle is the socks. So by the time that you get home and you dump that bottle into one of these decanters, it just gives that wine room to breathe. So stretch around a little bit, it's going to open up. A lot of the times with wine, you'll want to decant a lot of your younger wine. So if it's something that's bottled within the last year or two or something like that, this is going to be a way just to speed up the aging process and help the wine open up. Say give it an hour or 2 hours, or if you know that you're going to have some type of a dinner party later on that evening, you could probably open up a couple of bottles, and leaving them open for a couple of hours is only going to help them breathe and become a lot more enjoyable. So feel free to decant all you want. Now, do you need these sweet decanters to decant? No, you really don't. If you have one of these and you're going to a friend's house and you travel with it, great, more power to you. If you don't, not a big deal. This here is actually what is a decanter. It's just a pitcher. You can use it for lemonade, you can use it for water, you can use it for whatever you'd like. Well, it also works for wine. Now, is it as cool looking and as great as these ones over here? No, it's not, but it's still going to serve the same purpose. It's going to be easier to clean, I know that, than trying to stuff your arm into one of these guys. That's not really going to happen. So this is going to be a lot easier to clean. It will still serve the same purpose, and it's going to start having your wine breathe even faster at a rapid rate, and only going to become better for you to consume. So if this is all you have, I recommend it. Go ahead and do that. It's not going to hurt anything. It's probably only going to help. So feel free to do that. Now, getting into these are kind of some of the more traditional. They're all a little bit different, but they all serve the same purpose. And there's some decanters that'll be taller than I am, and they vary in price range. You can spend several hundred to $1,000 to $15 for a decanter. And I would say just kind of get with whatever works. If your grandmother had one sitting around the house and never used it, and she's trying to pawn it off on you and give it to you, I'd take her up on it. because no matter what the decanter is, you can spend through the roof on them, or you can find one that is very practical and it's still going to pretty much do the same thing. So of course, you know, you're going to have these different glass makers and people like that trying to sell you on theirs is the best, and who knows, it probably is the best, but I would go back to the pitcher if I had nothing else. So feel free to do that. These other ones, like I said, they're all going to serve the same purpose, and they all do kind of, you know, the same thing in the same order. I don't know if one's better than the other. They are different brands here. When I was purchasing these, I noticed that they were all for different types of grape varietals and things like that when I was getting them. Do I notice a huge difference in the type of wine and what I'm doing? I noticed that some of them do open the wines up faster, and I do notice some do work better with other types of varietals and things like that, but really you can't go wrong. If you only have one decanter and that's all you have, and you just have, I mean, honestly, I think I use this one probably the most, and technically when I bought it, I think it was a Merlot decanter. Now, I've used Cabernet, I've used Pinot Noir, I've used pretty much any type of wine in this, and I've never really, well, I know for sure I've never put it in here and consumed the wine and been like, oh, that was terrible, or worse than it would have been without doing it. I know that. So I would say kind of just get in where you fit in, and the only problems with these ones over here, like I was kind of mentioning before, is they're not the easiest to clean, but that goes along with any type of glassware, and it's going to make your experience more enjoyable, and I do recommend them. So if you do have a decanter, I would use it as much as possible, and I would allow yourself as much time as you can. So if you're having people over, or just for yourself, if you can allow yourself an extra, you know, hour for that wine to breathe and open up, it's only going to be a more enjoyable experience. Or on the other note too, if you do have a young wine and you do have access to some type of vessel that will hold a bottle of wine, feel free to dump it in there and run with it, because it's only going to help things in the long run. It's going to make it a better experience. So as far as using any of these decanters, and I'm just going to use this one because it's the closest, but the point of the decanter is to open the wine up. Now, I've seen people just pour them in right over the top and let them glug and do all that, and that's fine. I mean, I think if you get in there, you're good. But if you can, I would, you know, slightly tilt the decanter and just give it a nice little pour there. Let the wine run down the side of the decanter. That's really going to help things open up even quicker. If you do have any type of sediment in your wine that you notice, you do have a couple natural, and this is why wine bottles are actually in this shape, is if you do have some sediment, you're going to have some natural between the curvature of the wine and then also the punt on the bottom. Those are put there for the reason to catch any type of a sediment. So if you do notice that you have some sediment, what I would do is just get down to the last probably inch or two, and then I would back off on that and just not pour the rest out. That way you're not sitting with a bunch of sediment. Sediment's not going to hurt you by any means. Some people, it just doesn't make it quite as enjoyable. I do have this little device here. What it is it actually has a screen on it. I know there were some wines that went through a little tradition. Well, they call it a tradition. I've heard of both ways, that they meant to do it and not, but they are actually sediments in the wine that they are kind of proud of, and the way the bottling process is different, and they put a little shake onto it too, which was some type of a marketing thing that they did. I don't know if it's planned or not, but that's no here nor there. But if there is some type of sediment, feel free to drop something like that in there with the screen, and then you can pour out the rest of the wine. If you don't have access to something like this, like I said, just put the brakes on before the bottle of wine's done. That way the sediment stays in there, and then you can kind of do what you want with it. But if the sediment does bother you, don't feel like you need to tip the entire bottle upside down to get it into your decanter. Who knows, that might ruin someone's experience. So, and the point of decanting is we're just trying to enhance everything and make it better. So yeah. With that being said, that's kind of my quick decanter 101. I appreciate you tuning in and checking out this video. If you like the information that was shared, or if you know anyone that else that does, feel free to share this video out to them. You can subscribe to this page. You can make sure to hit the notification bell. That way you are informed when new stuff comes out. So if you look in the description below, I will go ahead and leave a couple more tips and tricks and other information for you there. So feel free to consume any of that. And for now, that's Anthony Hendrickson, and I'm just here trying to make wine great again. So I appreciate you tuning in, and we'll see you on the next video. Okay, bye-bye.